Fellas, I'm going to tell the truth right now. Independence is a trap. What's up, fam? My name is Larry L.C. Crawford, and today we're going to tackle the most uncomfortable truth of all, in my opinion. It's the discomfort of spiritual dependence. And I'm going to show you why doing it on your own isn't a badge of honor. It's a terrible flaw in your plan. In fact, it's a trap that has quietly exhausted generation after generation of strong men. I mean, you got the drive, you got the discipline, you become what they call strong, but you still feel weak half the time. Why is that? Well, it's because this idea of independence is an illusion. It's because we confused independence, or what I like to call self-reliance, with strength. And that mistake is costing us peace, it's costing us our families, and ultimately, if you don't figure it out, it'll cost you your future. Let's be honest. As men, we've all been conditioned to say, I got this. It's been kind of branded as the ultimate man statement, right underneath, hold my beer. And in the same way, bad things follow either one of those statements. I mean, if you look around, men are still taking on more than they should. We're more stressed, more addicted, and we're more isolated than ever before. Because independence or self-reliance ultimately has a shelf life. There's an expiration date on your ability to operate in self-reliance. See, you can grind on willpower for a season, but grinding isn't going to sustain you. In fact, it's going to drain you, because men are powerful beings created by God, designed to be powered by a God who never runs out. And when you are trying to be independent, it's like you're trying to power a skyscraper on a AA battery. And now you're wondering why the lights are flickering. It's because we were never meant to operate that way. In the Bible, we learn this principle over and over again. In fact, Jesus says it really, really plainly in John 15, verse number 5, when he says this. He says, apart from me, you can do nothing. I like this because he didn't say you'll do less. He didn't say you'll be less efficient. He said, if you do it separate from me, you can do nothing. Nada. Zilch. I mean, think about a high-end Tesla, for real. You may not like electric cars. I know you may be into American muscle. I am too. But a Tesla is a masterpiece of engineering. But if a Tesla one day up and gets a mind of its own, and it refuses to plug itself into the supercharger because it wants to prove it can handle it itself, it eventually is going to become 5,000 pounds of worthlessness, because that machine was designed to be plugged into power. See, brothers, what I'm saying to you is you aren't weak because you need God. You're empowered because you need God. See, dependence isn't about being some kind of helpless child that can't fend for themselves. Dependence is like that Tesla, understanding that you are a high capacity individual, and for you to do the things that you were designed to do, you have to be plugged into your power source. And men, the creator of the universe is your power source. That's why the organization of men that we're associated with is called Limitless. It's not a slogan, it's a reality. We know that as long as we're plugged into God, the limits on our lives begin to shatter and disappear. Okay, so here's a paradox I want you to think about. And here's where it gets tricky for most people, because it's hard to say that you're strong when you feel like you have to admit that you need someone to lean on. But surrender is the ultimate test of strength, because it takes a powerful man to acknowledge that his strength is weakness without a connection to Jesus. It takes strength to admit that. I mean, it's harder for a strong man to be still than it is for him to go to the gym. It's harder for a strong man to sit and wait on God than to rush into a solution. See, choosing to pause and to reflect, or choosing to ask God instead of taking immediate action, this is where the highest level of willpower is actually forged. And this, my brothers, is the discomfort of spiritual dependence. Okay, so here's how we can choose to grow spiritual dependence. Maybe you can put these actions on your calendar with a reminder, because none of them take a whole bunch of time, but they have a massive impact on your life and on the lives around you, the future in front of you. Here's the first move. Number one, the 5-minute guard. 5-minute guard is really simple. You create a safety zone for yourself, and you guard against noise, you guard against your phone, and you're protecting yourself so that you have a place to just take in the presence of God. I'm not trying to be weird or anything. What I'm saying is that this is an exercise of forced waiting and listening. In fact, you don't have to bring questions, scriptures, or anything deep. All you got to do with the 5-minute guard is just model the humility of making yourself available for God to speak. It's basically saying, whether you talk to me or not, I'm going to prioritize time to sit here and wait on you. Number two, try the I can't prayer. The I can't prayer is easy. On a daily basis, for a period of time, you admit your limitations to God. Because when we admit that there are areas in our lives that we can't handle, we're more likely to bring those areas to God humbly and ask Him for help and guidance. And guess what? When you're taking your 5-minute guard, these are sometimes some of the things that God will speak to you about when you prioritize time. And number three is the Sabbath boundary. In other words, you got to stop working when you should be resting. Because when we take time off to rest and worship, we show God that we truly believe His promises to us, that He can take care of us and that our worries are useless because He has us covered. It's our way of telling God that we believe that time with Him is going to multiply our success, not take anything away from it. And some of y'all probably saying, LC, I feel really stupid when I do stuff like this. Listen, this ain't about feeling. This is about prioritizing a moment for connection. This ain't about goosebumps. This is about submission. This is about telling God, hey, I don't know how to do this, but I'm willing to pause so that you know that I'm waiting on you. And when you take time to show that you're dependent on God, you don't lose time. You gain what you need to finish the journey. So if you're tired of carrying the weight alone, just plug back in. And for some of you, this may be plugging in for the first time. Maybe it's because somebody told you that it had to be all complicated and you had to use fancy words, but you don't. All you got to do is wait, because the Bible says they that wait on the Lord will renew their strength. Because a connected man is a powerful man. So don't plug yourself into yourself. Tap into God. And stay limitless. I'll talk to you next time. God bless.